All right, guys, so we're here at the right front passenger tire, and how we're going to start this is we're going to go ahead and take off this Can Am center cap. It's held on by 4 L-shaped little plastic tabs, so you want to be careful when taking this off not to be too rough and break one of those tabs off. Flathead screwdriver works well for this. Sometimes a pick tool will work as well. So those are those L-shaped tabs I was telling you about. Just be careful with those. Set that to the side. Now you're going to see that there is a cotter pin holding on a castle nut here. If you do not have a heavy-duty impact, then you want to keep the machine on the ground for this, okay? So we're going to go ahead and take the cotter pin out. Some people reuse these. I just like to go ahead and replace them. It makes it easier for next time. Set that to the side. Now, I've already broken this loose because I knew it was going to be a pain in the butt. But you're going to need a 30mm socket for this. And if you do not have an impact, keep the wheel on, keep it on the ground, and then take the center cap off, take the cotter pin out, and then use a breaker bar and your 30mm to break that loose. And then you can go ahead and jack it up and take the tire off. Makes it a heck of a lot easier so you're not fighting yourself the whole time. So I'm going to go ahead and back that castle nut off there. Like I said, I'd previously loosened this. Yours should be much tighter. With the castle nut off, we're going to go ahead and pull the washer off as well, and we can set those to the side. Now we need to go ahead and take our 4 lug nuts off and remove the tire. With the lug nuts removed, go ahead and take the tire off, and we're free to set it to the side. We want to go ahead and remove the 2 15mm bolts located on the back of the brake caliper. Once the 2 15mm bolts are out, we can set those to the side and carefully wiggle our caliper off of the rotor. Caliper off, I'm just going to set it to the side somewhere it will not be damaged. That brings us back to the front where we can see our castle nut has been removed, our caliper has been removed, and now we're good to go ahead and wiggle the hub loose. There we go. Yours may give you significantly more fight than that. I know when my bearings were really dry, they gave me quite a bit of fight as well. Now, what we're looking at here is the wheel bearing and your CV axle coming from the front differential through your hub. We can see we got quite a bit of gunk and buildup in there. I'm going to go ahead and kind of get all that taken out with some contact cleaner, but careful not to get that into your bearing seals. With some of that gunk cleaned off, we want to go ahead and grab our wheel bearing grease tool. This is usually located in the glove box of your Can Am. It was located in the glove box of mine, so I'm hoping it will be in the same place for you. We're going to go ahead and gently lift our CV axle up so that we can slide our grease tool into the middle of the bearing. Once it's fully seated around the edge, we're good to go ahead and grab our grease gun and press it onto the zerk. Once our grease tool is attached, we're going to go ahead and give it a couple pumps. We want to be careful not to overfill the bearing, as this can lead to premature wear and failure of the wheel bearing. There we go. I can start seeing a bit of grease coming around the outside here, so that's a good place to stop. Once you've got your bearing packed full of grease, just lift back up on that CV axle and slide the grease tool out. Alright guys, now that we've got the bearing grease, we're good to go ahead and reverse the process and start reinstalling all of the components that we have previously taken off. We're going to go ahead and start with reinstalling our hub and rotor assembly. Now this process can be a bit of a pain, but we want to get our axle lined up there in the middle, and then I like to reach behind and grab the CV cup from behind and just kind of give it some support to get it started. Rotate until you feel the splines meet the splines of the CV axle. Now this is going to take a bit of persuasion, guys, so stick with it. It will go. There it goes. I'm going to pull on my CV axle just to get it pushed the rest of the way through that hole. And now I'm going to go ahead and take my washer and my castle nut and reinstall both of those. Once we get that hand tight, we're going to go ahead and torque that down on there. Once you've got your castle nut retorqued, we're good to go ahead and insert our new bobby pin through the alignment hole from the top. It should come out the bottom with ease. You don't want to have to try to fight this, okay? Everybody has a different way of bending these pins, it seems like, but I like to just bend the closest side up, and then I take the side and I bend it. Oh! What I was saying, I like to take the closest side and bend it up, and then I take the furthest side and I bend it around the castle nut. We're going to take our caliper from where we had stored it previously. Make sure that we spread out our two brake pads to accept the rotor once again, and gently line it up with the rotor and slide it on. At this point, we're going to take our two 15mm bolts that we removed previously and line up the holes in the caliper with the holes in the hub and hand tighten both of these bolts. We want to torque both of these brake caliper bolts to spec. I will include that in the caption down below as well. Back at the front side of the rotor, again, we're good to go ahead and reinstall our Can Am castle nut cover, and you just want to line up all four of those tabs, persuade them to go in without hitting the cap, otherwise you will break them off. Just gently bend them into the holes that they line up with. Once we got that on, now we can just take our tire All right, once you've got all your lug nuts secured, we can go ahead and lower the machine and torque each of our lug nuts to 77 foot-pounds. All right, guys, once you've got all four of your lug nuts torqued down in a cross pattern, you are good to go. Please like the video and subscribe.